Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Today we've heard from colleagues across the House making clear their opposition to fracking. It was particularly powerful hearing from MPs from the Lancashire area, which has already been affected by the seismic shocks of previous drilling, and their constituents live in fear of that happening again. Fracking is dangerous, polluting, and will not provide energy security for this country, and it is deeply unpopular. The government finally seemed to get that in 2019 with its manifesto commitment to a fracking ban, and as it's been said, everyone on that side of the House stood on that manifesto and made that promise to their constituents. Yet it's only taken a matter of days for this new administration to bring fracking back. And not through a vote or a consultation or a debate in this House. It was a decision taken just by the Secretary of State alone, who's not even turned up to hear the winding up speeches. No scrutiny, the Secretary of State, no scrutiny and no accountability. Oh, sorry, I didn't see him there. Their manifesto promised the ban on fracking would remain in place until evidence categorically proved it was safe. But the recent report from the British Geological Survey commissioned by the government has offered no new evidence whatsoever to suggest the situation has changed. As the Honourable Member for Fylde said, the geology hasn't changed. How could it? The science hasn't changed either. So what did the Secretary of State do when he couldn't find the evidence he wanted? He decided to change the rules on how big an earthquake can be considered safe. I would laugh, Madam Deputy Speaker, but there's nothing funny about this. Labour has been absolutely clear that we will always oppose fracking, whether in opposition or in government. And I'm proud that the Labour government in Wales is keeping the ban. Yeah. And let us not forget, Madam Deputy Speaker, that this reckless decision comes in the middle of a climate emergency. At COP26, this government made a commitment on the world stage to prioritise the clean energy transition and end public support for the fossil fuel sector by the end of 2022. So how's that going? A year on, and they're not just bringing back fracking for gas, they're also issuing hundreds of new licences for fossil fuel extraction. No wonder the Prime Minister is trying to wriggle out of attending COP in Egypt next month. Let's call this what it is. It's climate vandalism. The decisions of this government are undermining our climate targets and trashing our reputation on the global stage. As the Honourable Member for West Ham said, it's taken a wrecking ball to years of patient climate diplomacy, and I'm sure the COP President would have something to say about that. The Minister for Climate Change, who's replying to the debate today, may be willing to swallow his pride and to claim that fracking is green in exchange for a seat down the far end of the cabinet table. But on this side of the House, we will be honest about fossil fuels. They are expensive, they're polluting our air and they're destroying our planet. As my right honourable friend, the member for Doncaster North, made clear earlier, the only solution to the energy crisis is a green one. Madam Deputy Speaker, removing a ban on fracking shows that we cannot trust a Tory promise, even if it was embedded in their manifesto. So how can we trust what is being said today about ensuring local consent? And let's be clear, the amendment doesn't say there will be a veto, it doesn't explain how that consent would be obtained, it's very weak on the detail, and it doesn't promise a binding vote on this House on what that consent would look like. And as my right honourable friend, the member for Leeds Central, said, why do we even need to do this? We know that polling, the government's own polling, shows that only 17% of people support fracking. And I would imagine a large proportion of those that will say, but not in my backyard. We're quite happy for it to, I think a Lords Minister once said, in the desolate north, that's where you would frack. I'm sure that the government committing to a ban on fracking today and committing to bringing forward their own bill if they don't want Labour to put the seize control of the order paper would come as a great relief to many of the government's own MPs. Our message to colleagues on the opposite benches is this. Fracking is not necessary, it is not wanted, and it is not inevitable. Each of you there today on the opposition benches have a chance to, on the opposite benches, I should say, have a chance to, yeah, I'm forward thinking on my part. Each of you have a chance today to ensure the voices of your constituents are heard and that our planet is protected. If you support our motion today, we will secure a binding vote on a bill to ban fracking on the 29th of November, in the absence of any willingness from the government to bring that forward itself. You will all have the opportunity to ban fracking before a single drill starts up in your constituencies. You know that's what your constituents want you to do.
That's your only problem, is it?
They know that there's no excuse for doing it. So do the right thing and support the Labour motion today.
Yeah.